What is the good word? Ladies intro is dun 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 dun. Technically speaking, jazzy. Welcome to Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. in Queensland, Australia for our friends over in Australia. Welcome to the live show. It's going to be a little interesting live show today, having a little bit of technical difficulties. Definitely have a guest that's going to be coming on soon. I have lots to talk about. This guy right here, which happens to be the Galaxy Fold, which big thanks to Jason, Tuna Tech, sending me this device that I could test it out. I have some thoughts on this that I definitely want to cover with the live show for sure. Again, I got a guest coming on. Canoopsy is going to be coming on. Currently, he got locked out of his Skype, so he's trying to not get out of his, basically unlock himself out of it. Not that I'm throwing him under the bus or anything. No big deal. And we do not have Stats today. And the reason is because Stats felt as though he was working way too hard. He said, I can't do this. I'm working way too hard in his executive producer ranks, where he says that he's working too hard. And by working too hard, literally all he has to do is talk. He doesn't have to prep any comments. He doesn't have to do anything. All he has to do is just talk. And that's working hard. So, yeah. So I'm going to talk about, if you've been watching my Twitter, we're going to talk about the fact that YouTube has increased the price again, which is ridiculous, of YouTube TV, going up to $65 a month. So I got a little backstory there that I want to talk about. Google's acquired another company, maybe something glasses related. I'm shooting on a new lens. That's going to be something that I talk about. Samsung leaks their own phones. BMW wants to start charging you software as a service to make sure that your butt can stay warm. And let's see, what else do I got? Lego art. Facebook's at it again. The Google Assistant is the superior assistant. So again, a loaded show that we have coming on today. Again, Stats isn't going to be here because, Stats is lazy. And I see, here's the thing, I can say all of this stuff about the fact that he's not here because he also told me that he wasn't going to watch the live show. So I called him and talked to him earlier. It's like, how are you going to come on? How are you going to go on vacation and still not even help your boy out with some of those stats? So those things, watch stats, not stats the individual. So again, we're going to get into all of that. But the first thing that I want to do, because I just noticed that I have a guest backstage, and I'm going to bring him on, and I'm very excited about this. This could be one of the most talented individuals that I think I've ever really had a chance to virtually meet. And here's the thing. So I've watched Canoopsy stuff for a long time, and I didn't think much about it because it is some of the cleanest video and audio and just aesthetically pleasing to the eye video that I've ever seen. And like, we don't think much about some of these online creators in terms of what they might be doing outside of it. Like, I'm fairly old. I'm in my 30s. I work for a major corporation and all this other jazz. And like, I don't think much about it. But Canoopsy has more talent at his age than I think. Like, if I'm guessing in terms of age wise, he has more talent at the age that he's at. And I don't even know if I knew how to walk properly at that age. Probably something like that. But now that I've thoroughly embarrassed him, I want to go ahead and bring him on. So, ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Isaac, a.k.a. Canoopsy. Canoopsy, my friend, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for all those kind words. I mean, you're hyping me up more than you should.
I don't know about that, man. So I will say, and I meant every word of that, is the idea that a lot of people thought, like, clearly he's been doing this a long time, and I'm sure you have been doing it a long time. He's been in the industry a long time. You are definitely a student. You've talked about things going to school and being semesters and this, that, and the other. So I want to stop talking a little bit, tell the crowd, tell the folks that are out there watching a little bit about yourself, and just take it away. Have a little FaceTime here.
Yeah, so my name is Isaac. YouTube channel is called Canoopsy. I'm a student. I make tech videos. For me, my reviews, my videos are more so about not so much about like specifications and numbers, because personally I don't really care about that kind of stuff. My videos try to center on what you can actually do with tech, how I use tech in my own life, and to try to inspire, some of you to use tech in similar ways. That's what it's all about. It's about tech, it's about lifestyle, it's how we can use tech to better our lives. That's what I do basically, and I've been doing it for a little while, and I find it pretty fun, and that's me.
And you're good at it. You're very, very good at it. So I've
That's debatable.
no, come on now. I was watching your probably. So I watched your Pixel 4 video. I'm a Pixel guy. You probably picked up on it by now.
Pixels are great phones. I have nothing
Yeah,
against that.
great phones. I've seen the stuff that you've done with your iPad videos. My daughter really big into art. So like I showed her your videos specifically about some of the things that you can do with your iPad Pro. And so now she's like over the moon, definitely ready to go all in on the next generation of the iPad Pro.
Oh,
So
amazing. That's great to
it's
hear.
incredible. So the last video you talked about was kind of life in the COVID environment that we're in, and like real time things related to your iPad Pro. So you shoot everything. I've noticed that you shoot some of your stuff on your iPhone because you said it. You shoot a lot of your stuff on your DSLR. But if you had to, you don't leave the house without what? Like you will immediately turn around and go back and get this thing. What is it?
Well, I'm gonna have to say two things.
Okay.
My mask, number one, because that's just the rules now.
Fair
So,
enough.
I have to. And probably my iPhone, most likely, because, like, I need to be able to get messages, get emails, get calls. Like, that's one thing I can't leave behind. And I'd love to bring around the iPad, and that's it, obviously.
Hmm.
But it's so big, right? And I don't have LTE on that thing, so my phone is like everything, pretty much for me.
Yeah. Do you have the 12.9 or the 11-inch iPad Pro?
So I have the 11-inch model, and a lot of people have asked me, like, why would you go 11-inch? Like the 12.9, get the big model, get the bigger device.
Hmm.
If you're using it as your main computer, you should have a bigger screen. And the way I see it is that, the 12.9 is great, but it's not for someone like me, because I like to bring my iPad, wherever and whenever I can with me. Like I go to school with it. I'll go chill at some parks. I'll go to a coffee shop. I'm whipping out like this tray, basically. It's like a baking sheet every time I want to, do anything. It just limits me wanting to bring it. It's like with my laptop that I'm using right
Hmm.
now. This pretty much stays at home, and I kind of regret getting a laptop sometimes because it never really leaves the house.
Do you
And
edit on
that's
your
just kind
laptop?
of Yes,
Okay.
because I have certain things in Final Cut that I need. Uh, to be honest, I'd love to edit on the iPad, but just Final Cut is the greatest piece of software I've ever used.
I agree.
You know,
I am a Final Cut guy. I am Final Cut through and through. I've tried to go to Adobe, and it's just not for me.
yeah,
I love Final Cut. I have tried to edit on LumaFusion. I'm sure you've probably dabbled with LumaFusion on the iPad Pro,
I've
but
used it.
there's just something very special about Final Cut.
Yeah, it's an incredible piece of software, and it's like anybody can learn it, which is so beautiful about it. Like you can do so many advanced, incredible, complex things, but it's such a simple piece of software. You can just sit down and learn this thing and make beautiful works,
Hmm.
and that's what's so good about it. And it's like one-time purchase. It's cheaper for students. It's a win.
Yeah. So what made you get into kind of the YouTube space? Like you clearly excelled at it. Again, I've talked about it. The way that your videos flow are incredible. How long have you been doing
Thank you.
it? What made you get into doing it? And do you see yourself doing it kind of long term?
Yeah, so when YouTube first came out in 2006, I believe, like I heard the announcement. I'm like, this is pretty cool. I don't know how old I was. I was very young at the time. And I'm like, you know what? A year later, I decided to just get the channel and, get a username and just have a platform where I can post stuff. And I was just posting like just random things, like stupid videos of like just things I found funny, just family videos that I would make, like reviews of action figures and stuff. And just as the years progressed, like I wiped my channel clean, did various refreshes, and eventually it went to gaming, and then I went to tech about 5, 6, 7 years ago at this point
Hmm.
now. And the early videos, they're not great. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, what I wanted to show. But over time, as I like watched other videos, got other influences, made some contacts at some companies, and just kind of found what I want to present to people, that's kind of when my channel sort of, got a bit more viewership and traction. And it's only really happened in the last 2 years or so where I've kind of figured out exactly, what I want to do and what I want to show. And we already talked about that, kind of the lifestyle tech angle. But I've been around for a minute on YouTube, quite a while. And
Yeah.
just kind of recently I've discovered, this is what I want to do. I want to make videos that first and foremost I would find interesting, and the audience, they'll show up. If they are interested in the same things I'm interested in, they'll be there. And
Yep.
I see in the comments on social media, if I post certain things or I show certain things in videos, people are like, "Oh, I love that band. Oh, I like this. I like your aesthetic. I like, the fashion choices you make." And I'm like, this is incredible. Like, I can put out what I would like watching, and other people enjoy watching it too. And that's just the greatest feeling,
Yeah.
to make things that you like and other people appreciate it. So that's that.
It's one of those things, like when you have a video kind of take off more than you expected it to, and like you see people make comments like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much. This is exactly what I was looking for," or "I absolutely love the way this looks, this, and this." And you realize that you've made that positive impact in that person's life just for that brief moment. And it may only be the one single positive impact.
Yeah.
Like, you're really talking about, I know a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, that's kind of crazy talk," but you're talking about kind of changing the world in a way, by making someone happy. Somebody's a little bit happier than normal. That may have made their life a little bit better at home or at work. You just never know. And it all centers around kind of this YouTube video production, the stuff that we do. Like, perfect example, up until a few weeks ago, we really only knew each other through tweets and things like that. And I got a chance to like see you come out in terms of the Saturday night tech fights.
Yeah,
And I mean,
I just remember your stressed out.
oh my
stressed
God,
out
I did.
face there.
Yeah, I
That
mean,
was
so
like, oh my goodness, that was hilarious.
yeah, I mean, for the folks that know me in real life as well, like, I am exactly that exact same way. Like, oh my gosh, kind of over the top, big gregarious guy.
It was a good time. It was
Yeah,
a good show.
it's a
Really
great
enjoyed
show.
that.
Like, and so it's making those connections with folks. Like, I'm now, earlier today, I joined a Discord, I guess, server with a bunch of other tech, YouTubers are talking about like, "Hey, we know that this is a really expensive kind of game to be in," and talk about, maybe swapping gear and sharing gear and going through the whole paces around it, because it's not easy. So I found that this environment and this arena, folks are starting to rally around each other, and the tech community is like this great big, sometimes toxic, but a lot of
Yeah.
times really awesome community that it's in. So I'll have to ask, is I've hinted at it before, your stuff is crisp, it's clean, it's super
Thank you.
interesting. What's your process? Like, when you were getting ready to make your iPad video where you knew that you were going to be changing clothes multiple times and going to multiple locations, how long, what's the process? Do you kind of sketch it out, storyboard it?
Yeah, so this is where things get a bit strange because, when the video's done, it looks like it's clean, it was professional, it was planned. But behind the scenes, it's not so pretty. I mean, that like videos like that one and the previous day in the life I did and other similar videos where they're really big topics, they often are like a day away from being completely deleted. Not even a day.
Really?
I'd say like a couple hours away from being
What?
deleted. Because what happens is I have an idea.
Okay.
I have an idea about a week prior. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do a video about day in the life, but this time instead of, my school routine, going to coffee shops, just chilling around the city, I can't do that. So I want to make one about what I do at home. And obviously the whole video is truthful. Some people called me out and said, I don't know if that's exactly what you do in your life. I don't know if that sounds very realistic, but that's what I do. And I mean, that's my lifestyle. I run, I cook, I just kind of chill. And so the video idea came up, and I kind of put things off for a while because it takes me some time to like sit and think about what exactly I want to show. Because if I'm not going to watch it. Nobody else will, is the way I kind of see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to have a certain, a certain feeling, a certain vibe, and that's exactly what I wanted to actually present. So I had to think about it, see what would work, what wouldn't. Then I kind of made a list of what I wanted to show. So I wanted to do, the run, the cooking, the changing clothes thing, the park visit, dinner, working, all. It's just basically what I wanted to show. And from there, I pretty much record the script, and that allows me to actually break down a list of shots that I want. So I'll write down all those shot lists. I'll draw some certain shots out if I want to exactly figure out what I want it to look like in the end. So like if it's a scene of me working at the park, for example, I'll draw out, okay, I want to be on the bench over here. I want to be working over here. I want the city to be in the back. So that's kind of how I break it down there. The iPad's been a great tool for that because I can sketch, I can write, I can scribble, I can make a complete mess, but I know what the mess is in the end. And then from there, there's the conflicting things in your head that are like, will anybody watch this? Is this exactly what I want to show? Am I saying something that doesn't make any sense to other people but makes sense to me? So there's like an inner battle throughout the entire production of, do I make this? Do I put it off for another week? Or do I just cancel the whole thing?
I feel you on
Yep.
so many levels.
Okay, that's good to hear. I thought it was just me, and I thought there was something wrong. But
I
that's
feel you
good
on
to hear.
so many levels.
Okay, thank goodness. Yeah, and then it's just I film it, and then I edit it, and I have to, with videos like the one where we've been talking about, it's a lot more complex because it's like a story almost. So there's like the whole element of storytelling, and it took me an hour to figure out what music I wanted to use for that one because the music is a very important part of how it guides a story. So, I had to find that track, a few tracks there, edit the whole thing, spend too long on thumbnails, and then post it. So it's
we're
process.
like spirit animals. I do the same thing with music. I can't tell you how many like shots that I've taken where I'm like, this is the worst thumbnail ever. Just throw the whole video away. I don't even want it.
I've been there.
And it's, people don't realize is like I spend an inordinate amount of time trying to find the right thumbnail, and I'll do multiple shots.
Sometimes for me, the thumbnail is what I think of first. If the thumbnail doesn't work, like if I have an idea, if I can't think of a compelling title or a compelling thumbnail, the video isn't made. The video is not the first thing. It's the other two things, because the title and the thumbnail are what actually get people to click on the piece of content.
Yep.
The video, you don't know what the video is till you actually watch it or watch the little preview GIF thing. So, I mean, I feel you on that. The thumbnail is a huge part, and I mean, so is the title.
Yeah.
Those are big parts.
I get it 100%. So before I forget, I do know, Happy Canada Day.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. I know that you are a Canadian friend, a friend up north. I have some other Canadian friends, and I wanted to make sure I wished you a Happy Canada Day.
I really appreciate that.
Of course. Do you have any tips or tricks I think Alex might still be out there, kind of a young an up-and-coming YouTuber. What are some of the tips and tricks that you may have for folks out there? You mentioned storytelling. You mentioned thumbnails and things like that. But if you had to give them like quick, 2-3 hitter, what are your tips and tricks?
First, before I give tips and tricks, there's a light reflecting off another building.
Yeah, there is.
And it's like, give me a second.
No worries. So while Isaac is over there doing that. See, these are some of the things you don't really realize when you're making content, is the idea that sometimes literally nature will also be fighting against you. And so when nature's fighting against you, you just figure out a way to overcome. And
that's right.
Yeah. And so you take that, bounce that light off of something else, and all of a sudden now you have that golden hour look that everybody talks about.
That was perfect. That's a perfect way to spin that. But yeah, that's a good tip. Like, sometimes things aren't going to work out. Like, sometimes you have an idea, it doesn't really pan out how you imagined, but thinking on the fly, you got to think of other ways to make it work. And that happens all the time during video production. Like, you have a certain shot, a certain scene in your head, and then you actually go to do it, and it's like, this is a disaster. So sometimes the idea you think of, or the thumbnail you think of, or the video concept you think of evolves into something better because of a crisis or because of an issue. Another thing is just like I said earlier, if You have to make videos that you would want to watch first and foremost. Like if you're making a piece of content that you personally would not find interesting or you personally wouldn't watch, chances are that audience is not going to find it.
Mm-hmm.
Because these, like, YouTube is a big platform, but it also creates these little small communities too. So you got to make content that you like first and foremost, because it'll keep you making content in the future and also help you find your niche, and that's an important part as well.
Yep. So
Yeah.
I know you're an Apple guy through and through. You're wearing an Apple shirt and things like that. Absolutely, I get it. All right, I have to ask. Everybody on social media has been freaking out about this one particular topic with the iPhone 12. You know what I'm going to ask. You know it's coming.
I'm ready.
I have to ask, do you really care about the fact that they're going to put a charging brick or the headphones in the iPhone 12 box? Does that even matter?
This is a great question for the tech fight thing when it
It
comes to
really
that.
is. Yeah.
Basically, like, there's either side of the problem. There's a way to argue it.
Mm-hmm.
So first, in the for argument for having a charger in the box, you're paying a lot of money. You expect to have a charger.
Yep.
It's just part of how phones are these days, and especially a fast charger at that. Because Apple did include the USB-C charger from the iPad in the iPhone box last year.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're kind of used to a general standard of fast charging. And chances are most people don't have a fast charger at home. They can easily buy one, but most people have like a 5-watt little cube or some knockoff charger.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the for argument. It'd be great. The against argument, which I don't, I have to think about, as a tech YouTuber, I of course have a lot of chargers. Like,
Yep.
I'm sure you do too.
I have a whole it's
Oh yeah, I have a
yeah.
huge box.
It's it looks like this. So
Yep, that looks familiar.
yep. Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like I have to remember, some people, they don't have a charger or they don't have a whole box. They have maybe like one other cube and maybe it's like broken or something. So for those people and for people who, yes, it's an expensive phone obviously, but most people aren't spending like $1,000 up front.
Yep.
These are on payment plans, so they pay like $30 to $40 a month. So technically, if you like that argument's, it's a weird argument, that one.
It is it is a really tough charger. Hey, Larry here in the comments actually comes out and says, "No charger, you don't have a fully functional device." That's a very interesting take. Hadn't thought about it from that perspective.
On the other side, this is the perspective I kind of reside in, but I'm also on the side of thinking, I'm a special case. I shouldn't. There are very few people out there like us who make these videos, have access to all these pieces of technology.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, most people have a charger. Like, most people do have some form of charger, or their computer, or a wireless charger. Like, I don't even use the chargers in the box. I use a wireless charger I've used for like a couple of years now. I just put my phone on top and that's it. The other thing is like the environmental impact. I mean, like people aren't throwing their chargers out, but they will at some point. That's the thing. Like if people are not buying these phones and just tossing the things out, it's gonna be like 5 years or so. It's gonna pile up, and it all keeps piling up over time. So there's the environmental impact. The boxes can get smaller, which could be interesting, which also reduces environmental impact, could reduce the cost, and I'm sure Apple's not going to make a cheap phone, but they might reduce the prices of some of the phones this year in some way or another and justify it, or maybe say it in the keynote saying, we got rid of the charger, we got rid of the headphones, we shrunk the box, or maybe they're offsetting costs for the 5G components, which is what I actually read the other day, is, by getting rid of these small things, it offsets that general price
To the 5G.
5G.
Interesting.
Yeah. And another comment here from Larry.
Would Sony sell the game system without a power cord? That's tough because I wouldn't normally have, like, I myself, I don't have a Sony, like I don't have an Xbox, I don't have a PlayStation. So like that's a harder sell for me. Plus the power that's required for those machines would be a little bit different in my mind. What I would love to see from Apple, if they're going to go the route of not putting those in, giving a consumer the ability when they order their iPhone or when they come in and pick it up, bringing the 5-watt little brick and a cord and getting a credit for either a wireless charger or a
Perfect.
bigger one so they can get the fast charging, flip it. But so flip it with the other one. Like basically say, okay, you don't want the 5-watt, let's get you a fast charger. That way you can experience it and going in that route.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Like, Apple wouldn't do anything nice really like that, but even something like give a customer the option of getting the charger. I think for one of Samsung's products, I can't remember which one, it might have actually been even the new Galaxy phones, there is an option on the website to include or not include an accessory. Like, do you want the accessory? They'll include it. If not, you just check a box.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what product it was. It was probably one of the phones, and it might have been a charger or a cable. Actually, you know what it was? It was a USB-C to a USB-A adapter. There was an option on the website. You check a box if you want it or not. Like, people are going to check it, obviously, when they order.
But
maybe they won't.
Maybe a lot of people may or may not. That's the thing is like it's the power of choice, right? Like you said,
yeah, like send them a little box, send them like the accessory box. You don't have to put it in the main box.
Yeah,
like send them the little the little box with it in it. That could be nice.
I'm interested to know how this is going to pan out because I like so part of me believes that maybe Apple seeded this out here is to say like how big of a backlash would this be?
Oh, Apple loves this. This is just PR for them. That's the thing. Like, it's just a way to, obviously get public reaction, but also get attention. Like, make a discussion. Do people really care about this? And it's probably a most things from Apple, they're marketing moves, obviously. Like, this is just getting attention. See, we're talking about the iPhone 12, and it's not even out yet.
Right.
Like, that's a move.
That's a power move by Apple. That's a way to do it. And,
exactly.
Zach comes and says, here's why Apple is going to include a charger. It's the reliability. And that's a great point. That's when you start to talk about the reason the ecosystem works. People stay in the ecosystem. Apple can control things. When those things go out to Amazon and all of a sudden you hear, people's iPhone batteries swell and this, that, and the other. Like they're not the only, electronic manufacturer that does that. But the point is if you can control it to a point where they know exactly what's going on, that's a little bit better. Although I'm just going to go ahead and say it, charger or no charger, headphones or no headphones. For the love of God, can we just go to USB Type-C? That's all I'm saying. Can we please? The MacBook Pro's got it. The iPad Pro's got it. I can charge my phone. I just want one cord. Just USB Type-C all day long. That's all my thing is. That's it.
Yeah, honestly, that would be the dream. Like, it's not so much an issue for me because I have like a thing from Anchor and you swap the heads on it.
Yeah.
It's like that works for me. But, it'd be great to have just one cable for every single device. But
think about using your MacBook Pro charger. Just keep it plugged in. MacBook Pro, iPad Pro. Amazing. Just unplug it and just work your way up. Oh my gosh, I love it.
It is Apple, so we're going to be getting fully wireless iPhone before we get USB-C. And as much as I don't mind, in theory, it's going to have some problems unless they can somehow develop a way to make wireless charging perfect, a way to make it cheaper than wired charging, and to make it not need a contact surface. And what about when you're out and about? Like, if you're at school or work or wherever, how are you going to charge it? Like, they got to think of all these issues. And I'm sure Apple's been working on it. They got some smart people. They got billions of dollars. They got trillions of dollars. I'm sure they'll figure it out, but that's a big change.
Wireless charging thing is going to be a big one. Like I have the ability, like I'm a strange person. Like I only wireless charge at night.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy wireless charge during the day because I'll just pick up.
Because you're using the phone all the time.
Yeah, because I have it in my hand. And so I would rather just be able to like plug in and then do my thing while it's charging. So
that makes sense.
I like the ability to be wired. Think about like external batteries. You mean to tell me that you're now going to get to a point where you have an external battery brick and you're going to do one of these?
Oh, some of them already exist.
Yeah.
But it's a weird situation. Like the closest we've seen to that, like on a mass consumer scale, is with the Galaxy Buds or the AirPods, you put them on the back of
Mm-hmm.
Samsung or Huawei phones. I mean, it's good, but like it slips around. You can't really put it in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
It's a slippery slope, but I'm sure if any company can figure out, Apple's probably going to figure out something within the next year or two with a fully portless phone. But I don't know. It could be just an absolute disaster. We'll have to see.
Okay. Now, I was going to get into some of the other topics. You are more than welcome to stay. If you want to stay and kind of chat it out, if you have other things you want to do,
Sure,
you let me
I'm
know.
down.
I'll get into some of the things. People on the show know that I talked about it. It was actually one of the things that came up on Saturday Night Tech Fights is streaming services. We are
Mm-hmm.
paying too damn much for streaming services, and
100% agree.
YouTube really, in my opinion, look, I'm a big Google guy. I'm a big YouTube guy. They really, in my opinion, messed up by not reading the room by everything that's going on and raising the price of YouTube TV from $50 to $64.99 starting immediately for new subscribers and the next billing cycle for existing subscribers. Now, it started in like 2018-ish, I think, maybe 2017, late 2017, 18. Started at 35. They were probably losing money hand over fist. Went up to $40 a month in 2018. Went up to $50 a month in 2019. Now we're at $65. And so people probably have YouTube TV. They probably have Netflix. They probably have Hulu. They probably have some type of music streaming service. And then they probably also have their internet connection. You're easily a couple $100 deep. We talked about
Stupid.
That's it's cable. You could have cable for that. People.
Now, like, what does YouTube TV even offer? In Canada, we never really got it for
Oh,
some reason. Maybe for better or for worse. But like, what do you really get with YouTube TV? Is it like sports channels? Like, what's the
so
deal?
it's just like a regular cable package. So you got your
Okay, so nothing's
ESPN.
really changed.
No, nothing's really changed. It's just basically
Okay.
a la carte cable packages. The reasoning was because they added things like Comedy Central and I don't know, some other channels. I think they said they added like 9 channels to justify the cost, but the reason why they added the cost is obviously you have to pay for those channels. But we're getting into the day and age of, guys, I'll just go back to cable. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to pay this anymore. It's like 60. So Larry says it's $64.99, but I get 4K content. I would actually be excited instead of irritated.
Yeah, it depends on, where you're coming from in terms of cable packages and
Mm-hmm.
like what you're used to, what kind of stuff you actually want to watch. 4K is definitely great. But yeah, we're getting up there in price, and I don't know.
Like I will go watch. I don't subscribe to a TV service. I don't have YouTube TV because of the
Yep.
price. I used to have a Sling. It was too much to justify the cost for not enough channels. I only had it for live sports. But I mean, especially in 2020, there's no live sports.
There's nothing. You're not getting anything.
To hell with that. So I
Yeah.
don't want to pay that cost. YouTube messed up here. Like, read the room, folks. Do you really think like you're still making a lot of money as kind of the mothership over the top?
Mm-hmm.
Do you really think justifying going to $65 is the right move now?
No, like, I mean,
Yeah.
people are at home, but they're like, it's a tough time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the time to raise the price of a service like this. And
No.
I mean, maybe it's worth it for some people. For me, I've never had cable in my life. Like growing up, I never had it, never really experienced it. So I don't really know. I really have never seen it. I've really never seen the purpose or the need for cable. There's always been online entertainment whenever I need it or something else. But yeah, I don't know. Like, $65 US a month.
Yeah.
It is.
So I'll show my age here. Back in my day, well, see, cable was kind of a big deal because you could get things like HBO, but that was always an additional package. You got, I remember when satellite came out, it was one of those things like you could get 500 channels, but you only watched like 17 of those 500
Yeah.
channels. So, and you were,
Yeah.
and really of the 500, you're paying the majority for about 20 of them because, you're getting a lot of add-ins like sci-fi. that's not that much money. Like, you're not paying a lot of money for the Sci-Fi Channel. You're paying for your ESPNs, your CNNs, your Bloombergs. Like, all of those channels cost a lot of money. And that's really where cable kind of got out of control. But now you're getting into, well, I mean, I don't want to watch commercials. And I watch commercials on Hulu because I just don't want to pay the extra tiered price. But I don't want to do that. Like, my kids are growing up, they're like, what's a commercial? Like, well, I don't even know what that is. And the Super Bowl's like, oh my gosh, the Super Bowl's amazing, right? I can't wait to watch it for the commercials. Before the Super Bowl comes on every year, I watch the commercials on YouTube.
That's true. I mean, I'm kind of a weird person, but whenever I watch TV, like at hotels or at whenever I can, I just watch for the ads. Like, I don't really care about the programming. I guess I'm in the industry, so that's what I'm into. But like, I don't know, like, it's never made sense for me. Like, paying that much a month for cable or satellite, and then still having to watch ads. It's like going to a movie theater and you pay like a huge fee for everything, but you're still watching like 30 ads beforehand. I don't know. It seems a little unfair.
To me, it's just Google. Just read the room. What a huge mess. But
Exactly.
kind of going along that same lines, I read another article today that BMW. Now this goes along with Tesla. This is the thing I'm getting a little worried about when it comes to getting the updates via the car. Is BMW now wants to could charge you for heating your seats and getting the advanced driver assistance. So comes to find out that when you purchase a BMW, and I didn't know this at the time, if you didn't purchase the advanced driver assistance like option, they just take it off of your car. Well, it's a software-based thing. Now you could actually per month pay to have your car like heated seats and advanced driver assistance. It's a lot like the package of when you buy a new car, maybe from like Chrysler or Dodge. You can get Sirius XM radio for a year. Then after that, you have to pay for it. Same concept would be here. So are we getting into kind of a really strange zone where these car manufacturers can basically sell you software as a service where they're like, oh, you wanted heated seats in, November to March. Okay, that's $20 a month for those months. But in the summertime, that's only like a $3 a month, so we can lock you in to that $20 a month in the wintertime. I mean, we're kind of getting into the point where we're now subscription fatigue. Like, subscription fatigue.
It's not that much more expensive, is it really, to like get heated seat, like to get it permanently? So you're saying you can either get it permanently added in, or you can pay it per month, or is it just the monthly version?
They could effectively have the ability to turn things on and off software to where they could say, like, even though it's hardware equipped, they could software wise turn it off and make you pay a service to effectively use it. While the hardware's there, software, they could turn it off. It's a lot like, Elon coming out with Tesla saying, okay, we now have 400 miles per, charge on each Tesla. Well, those are all software updates. Like, that hardware remains the same. Like, that hardware is what it is. It's not a swap of a battery or anything like that. It's all code based.
Yeah, I mean, the subscription thing, it's a good business model for companies because it's just long-term money, but like,
I mean, as a consumer, it's like, holy crap. I mean, at what point will I be, God, I don't understand why we're being nickel and dime to death. And Larry comes out and says, finally, it makes sense. BMWs don't have turn signals because it's a monthly subscription. Larry, that is only in Ohio, my friend. That is exactly the way it is in Ohio. I'm not sure what the drivers are like in Canada.
Oh, we're okay.
We're not okay in Ohio. Let me just put it that way. A lot of times we're up in the upper echelon of really bad drivers. So do you Facebook?
Oh, don't get me started on Facebook.
Are you
Facebook is, I mean, okay, I'm a lover of Instagram.
Okay, I love Instagram too.
WhatsApp is all right. WhatsApp is fine.
Yep.
What else does Facebook own? WhatsApp, Instagram.
Yeah. I think those are the big ones.
Yeah, the thing with Facebook is, it's just a disaster. like for me personally, I had friends on it, but then kind of in this age group, we don't really use Facebook anymore. Like we in high school, Facebook was good. College, university, nobody uses it. Like it's just not cool. Nobody posts on it. Nobody uses it. We keep it for our accounts, like to sign in and stuff, and that's it. But like basically, I only keep it around so I can sign into things. And there's certain groups like in the city that I'm a part of, like in neighborhoods and stuff, where I have to keep track of stuff. But besides that, like Facebook is just a wasteland. It's a
Mm-hmm.
space for like to fester hate and racism and just falsities. Um, it's Mark Zuckerberg is not a person to look up to as a
Nope.
public figure. The site is a mess. The app is a mess. It wastes battery. They own Oculus. Yes, Oculus is fantastic. But just Facebook as a platform, it's
Mm-hmm.
not cool. It's just it's just so awful. And
Mm-hmm.
like I could go on for days talking about why I hate Facebook,
Yep.
but it's just not a platform that anybody really wants to be on. But because we're so locked into it now, with maybe our friends are on there still, or we have like 50 accounts that use Facebook as a sign-in,
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of stuck with it.
I hate Facebook with a passion
Thank you.
of 1,000 burning suns
It's just
for
so gross.
all of those things that you mentioned. But my big thing is I am a big data privacy person.
Okay.
I talk about a lot on the show. Data privacy means a lot to me. I think privacy is a fundamental human right in terms of the data, especially in the today's day and age, is where we share so much information, and a lot of companies, Google, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, they make a lot of money on the data that we provide them very
Oh, yeah.
freely, might I add. Facebook, time and time again, cannot protect our personal data and the interactions that we have knowingly and now unknowingly to developers. Like they just willy nilly will give your data to any developer, and they've done it again. So Cambridge Analytica, that was a huge
Yep.
data privacy breach several years ago. They've done it again, and now they're saying that it was on Engadget, I think today. Facebook is sharing your data with developers. This
I'm not
time, this
surprised.
time, inactive users. You don't even have to be active on the platform. They're still sharing your data. And the problem that I have is they don't care at all about who has access to the data. They don't care what their developers do with it. Otherwise, they would have known what Cambridge Analytica was doing. You're 100% right. It is a cesspool of hate. It is consistently echo chamber after echo chamber of just
Yep.
gross, ugh, just gross. And
And the thing is, like
ugh,
the age group that's often on there, you know, I don't mean to sound like, I guess, ageist or anything, but like parents are on there, older
mm-hmm,
folks are on there, seniors are on there. And the thing is they are often more believing of what they see online. They tell us
mm-hmm,
not to believe what we see online, but
mm-hmm.
they believe it. And the thing
Yes,
is
they
there's
do.
yep, there's hate being spread, there's false just
Mm-hmm,
rumors and lies. And when you look at certain comment sections on things that should be positive, like progressive things
mm-hmm,
or things that are good for society, it's just a hate-filled comment section because, that's a target group.
mm-hmm.
And it's just such a sad place to be on. Like Twitter, for example,
Yep.
Instagram, it's just positive, pushing people forward, uplifting people. Then you go to Facebook and it's just hate and
Mm-hmm.
ads, and not even good ads. Like I love a good ad, but
Mm-hmm.
there's terrible. It's just
Terrible
awful.
ads. And the thing is, it's because of things like this. The developers can take the data that they harvest from you, again, knowingly and non knowingly.
Yep.
And at this point, they can just say, okay, I'm going to target ad. And they can get very good. Look, the algorithms that companies are making today's day and age, they can get really specific. A perfect example. It literally happened to me today in my own home. My wife and I were talking about getting an RV. Like we love the ideas. Like
Yep.
we don't want to go stay in a hotel. If we can quarantine in place, we can have an RV with a bathroom and everything. Cool. We can go somewhere completely off the grid and social distance, and no one has to worry about it. Love
I
it.
love it. That
Love
sounds
the idea.
great.
Yeah, it's amazing, right? So she has been on her phone researching RVs. My device, I have not been searching RVs at all. Haven't one time searched the RVs. Nothing on my phone in my Google search history shows the word RV, pull behind,
Yep.
fifth wheel, none of that. Today, in my Instagram feed, owned by Facebook, wouldn't you know that RV ads have started showing up? That's what happens. Like, it's the data, and it's data that your apps are getting. Now, I'm not one of those people that think it's like, oh, somebody's listening in. They're clearly listening. They're taking
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised.
I
And
wouldn't
I'm
be
sure
surprised.
We're like months or years away from like a case where it's been proven, and it's going to be a company that actually like would care about privacy. That's going to bring it up. Like maybe even Apple would just drop it in the keynote saying, we know Facebook's listening to you, so that's why we've added a mute switch or something like that.
That would be hilarious. What I believe, because I tend to know a little bit about how it works, is it's the fact that our phones are close proximity to each other. So the apps are looking, and again, these are Facebook apps. They're looking for
Yep.
a certain age group, a certain type of demographic that her and I both are. The fact that our phones are close in location means we were probably they're allowing the developers to take a little bit liberties here and saying, well, they're probably talking together about the fact that RVs, so let me serve him an ad because he's close, they're about the same age, they're about this, and this, and it's serving the ad that they think that I need based on the information that they're getting from us freely sharing our data with the apps.
It's a mess.
And
I'm very like, it's a mess. It's really a mess. And like, I'm someone who maybe isn't as strict about privacy, but like, I'm not doing anything that's suspicious or anything. Like, I'm not here running any sort of anything that's just suspicious or awful or illegal. So I don't really care what people listen or if like Facebook's listening or watching, but just the idea that they have that ability just to, see what you're doing and use it.
Yeah,
against you.
And the thing is like Tesla has algorithms that can drive a car, park it, do everything for you. So there are algorithms out there that can do a lot of damage. There's a great documentary out there about what Cambridge Analytica was able to do to create these huge profiles on people based on their data patterns. It is so crazy to think about. So yeah, I am glad that you and I united in our hatred of Facebook for so many reasons. I tend to take the data privacy side, but it is a cesspool of hate, and I hate it so very much.
Yeah, and I'm proud of companies for doing this boycott, like Patagonia and most other companies. That's such a good move. And to be honest, it does affect creators like us.
It does.
I've had a company reach out saying, we need to push back an ad placement because, we're not doing anything with Facebook right now, no Instagram, we're doing a complete boycott, and we have to limit influencer ads as well. And while that does impact me and people like me, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, this is a problem we have to face, and it just warms my heart when I see Facebook has lost like $8 billion in ad revenue for a month.
Yep.
Like, and every single day there's new companies, and it's such a beautiful thing to see that companies, honestly, they're probably doing it right now because it's been a tough few months and they're trying to save some money, which is most likely why so many companies are jumping on board. But I love it. I love seeing companies that are like huge corporations taking a stand in some capacity and, hitting Facebook where it hurts. Ad money.
That's the thing, is hitting them where it hurts. Stop the ads, taking them down. It's like the idea is the best way to fight something like this is to keep your pocketbook closed. That's usually the easiest way. So, again, now I'm going to kind of flip topics with our last few minutes in the show. Just some really quick hitters. You've been testing iOS 14.
Yep.
What is your number one favorite thing from iOS 14?
So I'm just fixing my light here.
You're
it's
good,
a bit
man.
too bright. iOS 14, when I watched it, the keynote was beautiful. It was so well produced. It was amazing. But in that beautiful keynote, I'm not sure what happened there. Am I still good?
Yeah, you're good. You're good on my end.
Yeah, in that keynote, there wasn't very much. Like iOS was not majorly upgraded. Um, it's still the same kind of thing. In iPad OS, like nothing changed there. Like iOS 14, it's stable, it's good, and probably the beta is so stable because there's really nothing majorly new. The only thing really new is those widgets, and that's where I've been having issues. Like I have them blank sometimes, they don't
Really?
refresh properly. The only issues I've had with iPad OS or iOS 14 is the widgets. Like that's it, and it's my favorite feature because I love the idea of these beautifully designed widgets. And sure, Android did it first, but if you look at some of the Android widgets,
They're
you
not
look at
great
the
either.
iOS widgets,
I,
I mean, it's clear which ones are kind of better.
True story. I am an Android guy. I'm a Pixel 4 guy through and
Yep.
through. I hate widgets. Like so
I've never used them
it was
ever.
never a selling point for me where they're like, "Oh, it's finally on." Like so the two big things it was like widgets and sorry, my dog's barking. Widgets and picture in picture. I hate them both. I don't use either one of them. It was
You can't
never
even use picture in picture on YouTube anyways. YouTube is never going to do that on iOS. So it's like it doesn't matter.
yeah, like I never cared about that, like because it's just something that I never ended up doing. My dog really wants to get in right now, and I have the door shut, and he's like a big softie. He comes and lays right here. He's like this big 90-pound dog, and he's gonna be really mad that I'm gonna keep him out there for a minute, and I can hear my wife or somebody coming down to get him because he's barking. But anyway, yeah, so I'm with you. The widgets, picture in picture, it was never a thing for me. So, kind of the last topic, and then I'm going to give you the last few minutes to kind of plug whatever you want to plug.
Sure.
Siri and the Google Assistant. I mean, you admit the Google Assistant is the superior assistant, right?
Yeah, I mean, I probably use Siri a bit more because it's just there on my phone. I use an iPhone mostly. When I'm not testing an iPhone, of course, Google Assistant. But for everything in my home, everything else, I use the Google Home, the big Google Home,
The
with the
Max?
screen.
Oh,
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
And like just for like basic things, like I just use that. Even if my phone's like right next to me, I'll ask Google instead. It's just so much better. The experience, it can do more. The multiple inquiries, being able to keep asking questions, like
Oh, the
it's
continued
just
conversation?
miles.
Yes.
It is incredible because with Siri, if I mess like if it doesn't understand what I'm saying the first time, like if I ask it to play something and it doesn't know what I'm trying to play, it just shuts off and I gotta say the thing again. And I gotta keep saying it over and over and over again. That alone is what makes me use Google Assistant at home. But I mean, for certain things on the go, and if Siri's all you have, it does do the job. But that being said, like it's not ideal.
I'm with you. I am the exact same way as like so on iOS 14, the thing I'm most excited about is the double tap on the back to enable the Google
That's pretty
Assistant.
good.
I will use it to enable the Google Assistant. I have a friend of mine who he is full into the Apple Ecoverse and he uses Google Assistant. He says the keywords to get to the assistant through Siri, which is hilarious to me. But hey, to each their
Whatever
own.
works.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, that's what it is. All right, my friend. I appreciate you coming on the show. I'm going to give you time. I'm going to make
Thank
you
you for having me.
I'll do it anytime. I always say this to all the guests that come on. Standing invitation anytime that you want. I'm going to step off the screen. The screen is yours. Plug whatever you need. Talk about yourself. Go for it.
I mean, subscribe to my channel if you want. Canoopsy, Canoopsy. Same thing on Twitter, same thing on Instagram. Be nice to people, wear a mask, practice social distancing. I mean, the more we do this now, the less we have to do it in the future. So, I mean, just be responsible, be safe, that's it.
That's right. Again, I'm going to make sure all of his stuff is in the description below. If I haven't already put it there, I'll make sure that it is always there. Folks, you can find me on Instagram at the Scott Peachy, or on the tweet machine at Scott Peachy. Man, given all this Facebook stuff, is like, but I love Instagram so much. I love it. And I'm like, oh God, it's still owned by Facebook.
I can't believe that such a beautiful platform was made by the worst possible corporation.
It just gets me every time. Oh my God. So, All right, cool. Well, my friend, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, folks out there. I will be back next week. Stats will still not be here because he's taking a 2-week vacation because evidently he still thinks he works way too hard. So thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Saturday Night Tech Fights will be back July 11th, and I'm very excited about that. I have no idea what Mike has in store, but I will be a judge. I have a chance to be a judge pretty much all the time now. Mike asked me. I absolutely love it. Isaac can talk about it. It's stressful. It's great.
It's incredible. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely watch old episodes and stay tuned for that premiere because it is a trip. It is
awesome.
Unlike anything I've ever experienced.
It is so cool. So awesome. All right, y'all. Be good. Be good to one another. Spay and neuter your pets. Do all those things, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks.